on his right foot. Here's Charbonnet on first down. Charbonnet.
First big play for Charbonnet here on what looks like a triple option play. So let's take a look first at Middle Tennessee State's front seven. This defensive end is going screaming upfield. The rest of the defensive line is slanting here to the bottom of the screen. Outside linebackers attacking the C gap off of Hayes' left hip. These two linebackers are creeping up a little bit. They're in wait and see mode. Moving forward here with the play. You can see that's what Middle Tennessee State is doing. Eubanks is one-on-one on the D end. You're going to have a double team here between Mayfield and Onwenu. You're going to have an initial double team here between Ruiz, Bradison on this nose guard. Since he's slanting to the bottom here, you're going to allow Bradison to get out to this middle linebacker. All right, let's take a look at how they do. So you'll see here, really good job creating this wall at the bottom of the screen here. And then Bradison picks up this key block that I pointed out. Okay, let's look at two of the other key blocks. Hayes started to creep down this way. He saw this outside linebacker coming for his C gap, picks him up really nicely. Then you have McCune coming across the formation, picking up this defensive end who is keeping his eyes on the backfield. He's going to be frozen by this backfield action. So let's see kind of how Hayes and McCune do here. You see as this sort of bottom of the screen is opened up here, you have both Hayes and McCune doing a really good job creating this lane at the top of the screen for Charbonnet. Okay, finally, if this defensive end comes flying upfield, it's going to be a give for Charbonnet. Say this defensive end just kind of shuffled inside or didn't come upfield, that's going to be a fake to Charbonnet up here, and then you're going to have Ronnie Bell and Patterson going out here, and you'll have a lot of open field here. This guy is occupied by the wide receiver. You're really only going to have Blankenship here, the safety, to come up to deal with. But since this defensive end did come crashing upfield, that creates a lane for Charbonnet. Charbonnet really displays good vision, good speed, good burst, benefit of great blocking, but really bursts through, and he's safeties do a good job bringing him down, but he gets 15 yards or so on the play.
2nd and 7 at the 36. Play action. Patterson got some help from Wilson. Black all around. Touchdown.
True Wilson sets up a great play action pass to Tariq Black for Michigan's first touchdown of the season. You're going to have this defensive end going upfield here. D tackles kind of slant down towards the bottom of your screen here. Defensive end works towards the tight end McCune. Then you have Khalil Brooks, number 6, blitzing the B gap here that True Wilson will be responsible for. So Michigan actually keeps in 7 for pass protection with only 5 blitzers, and they don't do the cleanest of jobs here. So McCune one-on-one with his defensive end. You're going to have Jalen Mayfield working on this defensive tackle, and when you will kind of help, he won't do a whole lot here. He's not really needed. Ruiz working here with Bradison. So Bradison is the guy who I don't think has the right responsibility here. And then finally, you're going to have Hayes on the outside here. So like at this point, Bradison isn't doing a whole lot. Ruiz has him under control, and this defensive tackle's whole job was really to free up this linebacker, so he does his job. So, I mean, everyone here for Michigan is doing a good job, especially Hayes on the top of the screen on this island, and you have True Wilson coming off of this this play action into death. Khalil Brooks, pretty decent linebacker from Middle Tennessee State. So, really good job just to get in his way. He doesn't stop him completely. He will eventually get to Patterson, but gives him just enough time. Everyone else is doing a great job creating a good pocket. So True Wilson really the MVP for this play. Let's look at the passing routes here. Similar routes from Black and Eubanks are both on similar sort of seam routes. Eubanks outside release, Tariq Black inside release, and then you're going to have this sort of deep in route from Nico Collins here. I'll show you another replay of Collins' route. It's sort of built to create conflict between the defensive backs, and you can see that the defensive back for Middle Tennessee State on Black does fall. So you have Collins cutting right off the butt here of Tariq Black on his in route, and Tariq Black's on his seam route. So you can see theoretically how this route could create conflict between those defensive backs. Interesting route combo. Really good to see Black back and healthy.
2nd and 5. Patterson off play action, Black open, and Black.
RPO to Black for a big pickup here. Got this defensive end looping in. These defensive tackles are kind of looping here towards the bottom of the line. Defensive end is attacking McCune here. Nothing too fancy. They're only bringing 4 linebackers come up in run support. Mayfield here taking on the defensive end. Since he's looping over, you're going to have Ruiz having to make up quite a bit of ground over here after the initial chip on this nose guard. When he's going to pull in the case of a run play, Patterson again kind of working with Ruiz here on this nose guard, since Ruiz will eventually get out towards this defensive end. Hayes does a really good job here chipping this defensive tackle before picking up a linebacker here coming up, and then you'll have McCune here on this defensive end. He might get away with a hold here at the end. So let's fast forward a little bit. So notice Hayes here did a really good job of chipping this guy, leaving him for Nwenu, and then picking up this middle linebacker. So realistically, you should have all 6 accounted for. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers for the 6 Middle Tennessee guys in the box. You have this linebacker not accounted for, so not the cleanest. And then you notice number 7 squarely in the hole here. We'll get to that for the next section here. So the whole point of RPO is to account for this box, 6 on 6. The conflict player is right here. We have the eyes on here from Patterson in this mesh. Notice that this defender is coming up in run support. His motion is this way, right? You have Tariq Black on this slant route. Since this safety is coming up, that's vacating this spot. As long as Black wins this route, he has an inside view here. That's what Patterson reads. He can throw to the inside of this conflict player. Free pass here. Black beats his defender. If this guy would have stayed back, it creates a bit more of a lane for Charbonnet to run by. So it's all about putting number 7 here in conflict. What does he do? His motion is up here. Only now does he realize it's too late and starts shifting his body weight back this way. But by now you have a clean path for Patterson to deliver a nice ball to Black for a first down, 22 yards.
From the 28 on first down, play action again. Patterson back up top. Patterson for Nico Collins, leaping.
Play action pass to Collins. Nice grab here. 5 out pressure. Outside linebacker at the top of the screen. Defensive end. You got these 3 boys as well. Let's just move on and see how Michigan handles it. They keep 7 in for pressure. They handle it pretty well. Really clean pocket for Patterson here. Mayfield here at the top of the screen. You're going to have, when you kind of picking this guy up, you're going to have Ruiz. He'll initially go out here, and then he won't really find anything to do. Patterson does a good job with this defensive tackle. We'll look at Hayes. He doesn't do the best job staying engaged with this defensive tackle. On the other hand, really solid job by McCune here. And then you'll see Charbonnet coming late for pass protection with Hayes's individual. So moving on here, you know, if you pause right here, these guys are all engaged right now. You got Nwenu and Ruiz kind of passing off this one guy. So good engagement here, but then I want you to look at Hayes here. For some reason, he just kind of passes him off. He looked inside like he was a little bit unsure of himself. Could be, you know, being young, being nerves. Charbonnet's right here, though, to pick this up. So he does a really good job to chip in there, give plenty of time. So no one really loses their battle here. You know, especially good job by Mayfield at the top of your screen. Clean pocket. Looking at routes, you got this little flat and up route from Eubanks. You have kind of a seam or skinny post, you could say, if there's a little cut right here. And then you got a simple fly route from Collins. It looks like Collins was the guy all the way. Eyes look like they're kind of going towards this safety to see how he reacts. If he doesn't go with Bell, it's an opportunity depending on this guy. But I think Collins is probably the first option here. Delivers a nice ball. I would like to see this ball a little bit towards here, given that you have no contention over here. Collins did have a couple steps on his guy. You can see he's already holding up here. So if the ball's further in the end zone, he doesn't have to make it a jump ball with contact. Not the best throw, but it gets there using his height. Touchdown.
Patterson going up again. He's got his tight end. It's McCune breaking tackles.
Easy pitch and catch from Patterson to McCune here. Let's take a look at what Middle Tennessee State is going for. They're overloading the right side of the defensive line here, sending pressure with 3 guys and then 2 guys at the other side of the line. You'll see Michigan handles this pretty well. We'll take a deeper look here. So at the top of the line, you're going to have Mayfield one-on-one on this defensive end here. You're going to have when you kind of coming down to this defensive tackle to pick this up, and then you have the other 3 linemen kind of branching out over here to their left to handle these 3 rushers. Finally, you'll have Charbonnet kind of filling this gap left from Onwenu moving over to his left, just in case any other blitzers, say this guy decides to come up. Turns out no one does, so you have adequate blockers plus Charbonnet to handle that. As far as routes, pretty simple. 4 verts. See how straight lines I can draw. And I'll point out the coverage here. I believe it's cover 6. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm going to do my best to point this out. So I believe you have cover 6. So what that means is this guy covers this half of the field. This guy has a quarter. This guy has a quarter as well. And then this guy, this cornerback, has this either quarter or half. It's hard to say. This guy covers a quarter, and this guy covers a quarter. So essentially you have 3 guys covering the middle of the field or the shorter mid-distance, 3 guys covering the deep fields. With Michigan sending 4 verts, that means that you only have 3 defenders here to account for 4 routes. They choose to have the cornerbacks occupied here. That means this is where your conflict is. You really can't go wrong. There's a lot of space there. He chooses McCune. McCune bounces off a couple dudes, gets a touchdown. Good play design, good execution.
McCaffrey will keep again. McCaffrey open field.
Arc zone keeper for McCaffrey for a touchdown. Nothing too fancy for Middle Tennessee State in a 4-3. This guy's going to be the read guy. He's going to shift down. This will be important for Michigan's blocking scheme here. But just know he's reading. He has his eyes on the backfield. I'll undo that. So he's just kind of coming down the line here. You have all these other defensive tackles just kind of plowing into the line, as well as these 2 linebackers kind of filling it, creating a mess on the offensive and defensive line. You see that, just massive bodies. So arc zone read, let's start at the backside. You're going to have a double team between McCune and who is this? Hayes on the left side here. You got Bradison and Ruiz double team of this defensive tackle. You're going to have Onwenu going to his left here, picking up this defensive tackle. And then you have Mayfield reaching out to this linebacker. And then interesting blocks. I'll point here, kind of the key blocks. You're going to have Eubanks coming around here. He's picking up the first guy out this way. And then you're going to have eyes on this defensive end. This is the key for the read. So just look at the blocks here real quick. As you can see, just a mass of bodies here. So, not a whole lot going there other than the read here. So like I said, the key read right here is on this defensive end. Since he is coming down the line, McCaffrey is going to read this as a keep, because this hole really that is formed here is taken up by this defensive end. Given that's the case, Eubanks is on his arc block. He's going to get the guy he thinks is the biggest threat to McCaffrey's run. Picks up number 7. 42 is too far. Easy touchdown.
Bell in motion. McCaffrey hands to Charbonnet. First down and more. Breaking tackles. Stepping out of others. Looking for a block. Charbonnet inside.
Really nice pickup from Charbonnet here. 41 yards on an inside zone. Let's look at Michigan's bottom side, right side of the line here. Could have Mayfield picking up the defensive end. You're going to have a double from Ruiz and Onwenu on the defensive tackle. And Onwenu will find this outside linebacker filling this gap. It picks him up nicely here. As you can see here, there is when you drops off. Everyone's accounted for. No backside pressure, so that's really good. Going to have a double between Hayes and Bradison. This defensive tackle, they get nice movement, and then Bradison falls off to find a linebacker. He flows this way, finds himself right into Bradison's lap. Really important block from McCune here. He kind of gets the inside leverage on this defensive end. He's really responsible for filling the left side of this lane as these 2 linemen for Michigan, Bradison and Ruiz, form the right side of the hole for Charbonnet. So as you can see, really good job by McCune here setting this left side. Not the biggest hole for Charbonnet, but plenty. Then finally, let's look at the motion action and what I think is a future play for Michigan. So you have Ronnie Bell kind of on this orbital motion into the flat here. You're going to have this sort of read action here, right? With this block between McCune and defensive end, this is why I don't think it is a true read. But let's move forward here a little bit, get a sense of what I'm saying. So you see right away the safety flowing upfield. Let's pay attention to him on this play. He flows up. Say for a moment that McCaffrey has this ball. This is now the conflict player. He has to decide, do I come up on the quarterback who has the ball, or do I follow Ronnie Bell out here? Whichever decision he makes, if he follows Ronnie Bell, McCaffrey has a lane to keep it here. If he decides to attack the quarterback, you can throw it to Ronnie Bell in the flats. Only defender is on Tariq Black out here. So could be a future option. So Charbonnet hits the hole really hard right there. Jukes number 2, the safety out of his shoes. Really nice stiff arm here. Notice he's not even looking at number 7 here, but he gets just enough of a stiff arm to make the tackle really tough. Cuts outside to maximize Tariq Black's block on the outside.
On first down, they'll bring pressure. Nice. Patterson floating it for the win.
Ronnie Bell almost comes down with the pass from Patterson here. Is really close to Michigan's first touchdown. Took a Middle Tennessee State here. They're sending 6 defensive ends. Are kind of going on the outside here to try to occupy the tackles. You're going to have defensive tackles attacking the A gap. This defensive tackle really wants to get between Onwenu and Ruiz. 32 is attacking the B gap here on a blitz. Then you'll have this number 6 also attacking the B gap, looping from the outside here. Let's move forward, see how Michigan handles this. So again, the goal here for Middle Tennessee State is to attack the B gaps. Tackles take their defensive ends who are kind of looping to the outside one-on-one. Brayson's going to handle this defensive tackle. You'll get an initial double team on this defensive tackle between Onwenu and Ruiz. Onwenu does a good job keeping his outside arm free. He will shift over into this B gap for this linebacker on his blitz. That leaves 32, the only guy coming upfield. Charbonnet is going to fill that gap left kind of here by Bradyson picking up this defensive tackle. Does a really good job. Key block on this play is filling that hole, really delivering a blow and creating a really nice pocket here for Patterson. And here is where Onwenu drops off nicely from his double team here with Ruiz to pick up the other blitzer. Looking at the routes real quick, Tariq Black on a drag route. You have Eubanks kind of on this flat and up. You have Ronnie Bell we saw on the post route here. And then you have McCune kind of on this slant stick route. He'll just stick right here in the middle of the field. With no safety back here, it's a pretty easy read for Patterson right away that Ronnie Bell will be one-on-one coverage. You'd like to see him a bit more separation here. Throw could have been a bit more inside to utilize all of this open space. Throw is also a bit high. You'd like to see more separation. Off his hands, also good coverage. Play was right there. Just, a little bit missed of an execution there.
Patterson with 3 receivers to his left. Taking the shot. Open.
Ball's thrown just outside of Ronnie Bell's reach here. Let's take a quick look at what Middle Tennessee State is doing. They're in a 5-3 here. They're sending 6 initially on pressure. Nothing too fancy. This linebacker at the top is rushing. Then everyone else is kind of just going straight upfield. You do have 2 guys at the bottom of the screen. So McCune is a key block on this side. Let's move forward here a bit. You will see late that number 7 here, who is tasked with, I think, probably a spy on Charbonnet. Notices Charbonnet is in pass protection, so he goes screaming towards the line of scrimmage. So Michigan's blocking assignments are pretty simple. Everyone's in one-on-one blocking here. No one really messes up. Bit of a kick-out block here for, or I guess a reach block, whatever you want to call it, for McCune to get out, as well as for Hayes on the left side here. And then Charbonnet comes up in pass protection. So nothing too complex, no stunts or anything. As you can see, a pocket is forming nicely for Patterson. Number 6 looks like he's got a good shot here, but McCune does a good job to redirect him just behind Patterson as he's stepping into his throw. Route combination, you have the flag route from Ronnie Bell. You have a simple crossing route from Eubanks. And then on Collins on the outside, you have kind of this slant and out with his hips opening up to the quarterback. Given that there's no safety back here, deep shot makes sense, which he goes for. Ronnie Bell's defender falls mid-route here. And the ball is thrown just at his fingertips. This is a really tough catch. I don't really put that on Ronnie Bell. I think that's a situation where it's just a bit too far. Your call, though. Just a missed opportunity.
Top of the screen. Good protection. Patterson going up top.
Missed opportunity to Bell again here. Let's look at Middle Tennessee State. They're sending 6. Nothing too fancy here. Pretty par for the course. Number 6 is looping inside towards an A-gap blitz to make it 6 rushers. Let's look at Michigan's protection scheme here. You're going to have McCune blocking this outside rusher before going out on a route. I'll cover his route in a bit here. And then you're going to have Mayfield kicking out after this chip out block. And then you're going to have both Nwenu and Ruiz kicking out on these other 2 defenders here. That leaves 2 guys out here one-on-one for Bradison and Hayes on the left side of the line, and Charbonnet is going to fill this A-gap. Picks up a really nice blitz pickup on number 6 here. So this guy, after the chip from McCune, who does a good job actually, is kind of in no man's land, so right tackle Mayfield doesn't have a whole lot to do. Everyone else creates a really nice pocket for Patterson, especially a nice job by Charbonnet on another good thumping pass protection. Routes on the outside, you can't see from Bell, but he is running a deep post. You have a sort of an in route here from, I believe, that St. Ristel, and then you have I don't even know who this is honestly, but he's running a kind of an inside, another in route similar to Eubanks, and then after the chip from McCune, he's just kind of doing a sit route here in the middle of the field. So eyes on Patterson are on this safety, which makes this play even more boggling because that safety, you'll see once he decides to throw, is moving upwards. That leaves just an acre of land to throw to here, given the safety is not occupying this space. Instead, I don't know if this is miscommunication or what, but he airmails it, throws over here. Just look at all of this area. It hurts my brain. So missed opportunity from Patterson for sure there.
And here comes the pressure right up the gut. Patterson has to throw for the end zone.
Another missed opportunity to Bell. This time, Middle Tennessee State showing 7 on the blitz, and they actually bring all 7. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 right up the middle. This is the guy who's going to actually create the pressure. 5, 6, and 7. So pretty simple. This is these 7 guys are the 7 guys blitzing. And Michigan just counts wrong. So you see right away the eyes of Nwenu. That's the danger thing right here. He's looking at 85. But you have 3 guys here for Michigan. You got Bradison, Hayes, and who is that? Eubanks. Focused on these 3 defensive linemen. On the right side, you have Mayfield looking at 43 to block. You have Nwenu responsible for 49. Charbonnet takes number 6 on the edge. Everyone does a good job. 90 gets a gold star for running straight at the quarterback. So it's just a bummer that Ruiz decides to, was it saying Nwenu? Ruiz is the one who counts wrong. 90 gets a free shot at the quarterback. Routes, you got Black and Collins on similar sort of in routes here. You got Ronnie Bell kind of on this corner route. Corner route is open. There's no deep safety. Decent route here. He gets separation if his throw is on target. He's got a touchdown. Can't blame Patterson here. He reads the correct throw to Bell here. He just has to throw it super early, and it ends up just outside of Bell's range. Nice attempt at the dive, but another missed opportunity. Poor Ronnie Bell, man.
2nd and 10. Patterson looking for his tight end again.
Pretty nice ball here to McCune. Just can't come down with the catch. Let's take a look at Middle Tennessee State. This time they're only sending 4. Michigan's keeping in 5 for pass protection, so no big issue here. Looking at what Michigan is doing, you're going to have Mayfield one-on-one on this defensive end. You'll have a double between Ruiz and Nwenu on this defensive tackle. Then at the bottom of the line, you got one-on-one blocks between Bradison and the defensive tackle, and then Hayes and this defensive end. Everyone does a pretty nice job. It looks like Charbonnet is initially staying in pass protection before going out on a route. I'll cover that in the next section here. But at the time of the throw, no one's really getting through. Clean pocket all the way. All right, looking at routes. You have sort of this tunnel screen action from Black on this kind of shallow crossing route. It looks like Eubanks is kind of coming on a fake crack block before going into an angle route here. You have McCune kind of running the seam route. He's going to fake to the outside before cutting kind of on a post route action. And then finally Ronnie Bell is on a post as well, maybe a skinny post you could call it. And then Charbonnet, like I said, kind of pass protection here before heading off into this flat. Eyes for Patterson are on this deep safety number 7. You can't see him. Seems clear that McCune is the first option here. You'll see that it does look like Black is coming open here, given that this linebacker is coming up to support Charbonnet. So possible missed opportunity here. The throw is pretty nicely placed. If you're going to place it anywhere, place it high. It could have maybe been a little bit further out in front instead of behind here, but it's nicely vertical there. Good play by the defensive back to get his hands there. You'd like to see McCune do a little bit better to pull that down, but overall, I chalk this up to a better play by defense than the offense.